Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of GnWC Weekly. It is Thursday, August 4th, and it's after nothing. I mean, I guess we could say it's after Impact on Pop, but I didn't catch it tonight, even though I really do want to catch up on Impact Wrestling, total nonstop action, stuff like that. I really want to do it. And I'm rambling just to really mess with Larry. But I am the Duke, and I'm joined by my good buddy.
And I am Angry Larry, and you can reach me on Twitter at...
Wow. Really?
What?
We can't... I'm going to have to bleep it. I'm going to bleep...
No,
I'm going to bleep...
Start it over. I was doing that.
I'm not starting over. I really will bleep it. So.
Oh, are you? Okay.
But,
well, I also said something else you have to bleep out too. Then,
what, your name?
No, I dropped a D bomb in there in case you missed it.
Oh, you did? I didn't.
Right after, yeah.
Oh, no big deal. We'll figure it out.
I won't say it again because I don't want you to do another edit. But
yeah, because it takes me so long to do anything anyway. But I'm working on that.
Do you not want people to reach me on Twitter? I'm famous.
Yeah, totes.
I was on SmackDown Live post show.
That's so messed up. Oh man, and people don't know what we're talking about because I believe
No, not at all. But
yeah.
I am eating popcorn.
Yeah, then you'll have to you'll have to see if you can figure out what we're talking about. Basically, something made the SmackDown Live Twitter ticker, and apparently no one who filters those messages paid attention to the actual handle of the person. And
someone Googled Twitter plugin, Twitter add-on, and then they just threw it into the Chiron machine, and they just let any tweet just show up.
Yeah. I was really upset that mine that was complaining about the women's division didn't make it, and that made it in. But anyway,
I'm looking at the picture you sent me, and I'm like, oh, cool. All right, it's Renee Young and Dean Ambrose. Mark. Oh my God, what does that say? I'm like, oh, Duke must have made the bottom somewhere. No, my God.
No, I didn't make it.
I don't think that's you.
Oh man, but we'll move on from that. Larry, why don't we hit up some news and notes, and then we'll get into our topics of the week.
All right, I already dropped the mic, but I'll pick it back up.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Ready? Biggest news of all, in my opinion, Figure 4 Weekly is reporting that SmackDown will add a tag team and women's title to the mix.
Okay.
It's like I mentioned last week. They'll introduce them after SummerSlam so they don't steal the spotlight and attention away from the Universal title. But they might also give it some time between then and Backlash or whatever the next one is after that. It might be Roadblock. I forget the order. Maybe to set up a tournament or a series of matches or some form of competition. So we'll be on the lookout for that. And it's good news because with American Alpha and, a lot of Becky Lynch fans out there, for them to be in a competition for basically nothing, even though it's the cartoon world of wrestling, their wins and losses have no point then without a title. So it's good they'll have rooting interest. People will get into it. It'll be good, and it'll make both shows stronger having a full run of titles. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. Super quick. It's one thing, and I don't want to go too long on this. It's one thing for you to have a floating champion between shows, but if you are literally going to keep these rosters together, except for one match that's going on right now.
We're going to bring that up later.
Yeah, but if mainly you're keeping people separated as canon, then you kind of got to have titles on each show, even though it seems to water it down, but you kind of got to if they really are going to be. I mean, they're going to have their own pay-per-views and stuff, so yeah.
I disagree with the watering it down because you're putting more people in the spotlight. You're elevating more people to certain levels.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
So yeah,
I'll let you move on.
Yeah, okay. I'm actually floored that I won that argument so easily. So let's move on. Injury notes. Jimmy Uso, Paige, Bray Wyatt, all suffering from injuries, all basically on the day-to-day list, although Paige was taken off the road and might be a month before she's going back. Shoulder and back pain is what's listed. But, Duke, I don't know what you're hearing in your circle of the internet.
I saw it.
But it's troubling. I don't know the extent of it, but she is being erratic and eccentric, and she has been for a few months, and we have not been seeing her for a few months. And her family's chiming in on stuff as well. I kind of feel at this point like she's in danger of being released.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, but speaking of being released and being cranky old people, Duke, are being cranky. Animal, Mr. Laurinaitis from the Road Warriors fame, is claiming that Sasha Banks is being forced down our throats.
What?
This doesn't even need an argument. Like it's just fan reaction can dictate that she's not being forced down our throats. People like her. Get over it. Maybe some people don't like her, but it's not because of her being forced down our throats. She's just been on TV for the last 4 weeks.
Yeah,
you know,
she's like she's barely been on TV for the past year. I mean, she'll be on for a couple of weeks and then disappear. On for a couple of weeks and then disappear.
Change her name to Charlotte, and you might get me to consider an argument.
Yeah.
But even then, there's a difference between entertaining, being a part of the show, and forced down your throats. Whatever.
Yeah.
Ric Flair is chiming in that Finn Balor is not a legitimate heavyweight contender or top draw.
Right, because he's a cruiserweight.
That remains to be seen. But I think it's way too early to pull that card.
Sure.
Especially, again, fan reaction. People want to see him.
And especially since we haven't seen the Demon on the main roster yet, and that just it's very unique. It is very unique.
He's not my cup of tea, Finn Balor. I mean, I think we all noticed by now if you've been listening to me, but it's just fans like him, and his place is there. He has a place, whether I like him or not. So that's one of those things where I won't argue against people who like him.
Sure,
because I feel like he does deserve to be there. It's just, he's not Dana Brooke. Like, let me just say that right now.
Sure. I mean,
speaking of being not Dana Brooke,
who could be though?
Yeah, right. Bret Hart.
Also, not Dana Brooke.
Have you heard the new Bret Hart stuff?
No, I haven't.
All right, here we go.
I steer away from it, I guess.
Bullet point. No, it's like a train wreck. These are the bullet points. Goldberg cost him $1 million. Millions of dollars.
Sure.
Seth Rollins is very unsafe to work against, and he's going to hurt more people than he doesn't. And scripted promos are ruining wrestling. And it's Bret Hart, so you can kind of take everything with a grain of salt, because he thinks that everything that worked in the late 80s and early 90s is what works today, and anything that differs from that format is wrong. And he's definitely the poster boy for somebody who's just not changing with the times. You know what I mean? WWE had that philosophy in the mid 90s. And you know what happened? WCW started kicking their ass on TV.
Yeah.
And then gone were the plumbers and the clowns and the hockey players. And in came the Austins and the Undertaker badasses and The Rock. And look who's around now. Because they changed.
What's funny is WWE had that mentality. You know where Bret Hart was?
In
WCW. It's just like, what? Like,
yeah.
He was where they were changing the mold,
And he was miserable there, to his credit. But it's funny. It's funny how WWE had Bret Hart, and then they were in the process of changing over, and Bret Hart left, and then it's just it's almost like weird. He was the. Yeah, it's wrestling. Everything's cyclical. Everything's the same. It's just you got to kind of cater to the fans and what they want, but you can still present everything the same in front of them. It's just, you got to have the personalities with the times, and they have highs and lows, and it'll always be that way. So it's wrestling. But you know what else is wrestling? Monday Night Raw.
Yes,
and that's it for the news and notes. I don't know if you want to add anything in.
I was just like, is that a segue, or is this an actual news thing?
I'm like, just in case I missed something and Duke wanted to say something. I guess
no, I'm good. Right. Yeah, there was the only real notable thing that I saw today was that Bray was injured and worked through the injury that
didn't want
we
the match
saw
stopped
on SmackDown and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, and it are we going to touch on that, or are we just going to leave that alone
I'm touching on him. Yeah, I'm touching on him.
later?
So
Okay.
in SmackDown, yeah.
All right.
So let's start with Raw. Let me give big props to WWE this week. Speaking of changing with the times and stuff, they created some missable moments, and let me define that. If you're not used to the normal formatting of TV shows, or if you are used to the normal formatting of their TV shows, you may have missed a few things that happened this week just based on turning the channel when you thought it was going to be a commercial, or walking away because you thought a segment was going to go a couple, a match was going to go a couple segments.
Mm-hmm.
I missed the New Day pinning the club, beating them in the match, because as soon as that match started, I walked out of the room to do something, to fix a snack or something. And then I hear the bell and I walk in and the match is over and New Day's laid out. I also missed Bray Wyatt attacking Dolph Ziggler on SmackDown, because after the promo was over with Ambrose and Ziggler, I walked into the other room.
All right. You're ridiculous.
What?
Now that's completely on purpose.
No, I'm talking about SmackDown on purpose. Yeah, you're right.
Shut up.
Real quick, just
I
to do that.
You.
But
Jiggler, you can't say that on this show. This is a PG show.
Okay, but I
you were talking
those
about
moments.
Jello. Sorry.
Jello, yeah. I missed those moments, and I did miss one other moment too. I didn't write it down because I kind of forget what it was now, but just the way they did the formatting of the shows was different. So, all the props to them, because I missed them. It gave me like a running back into the room kind of reaction, and you don't get that a lot anymore. And it's minor, but it's kind of what makes wrestling fun at the same time, for me at least. But
yeah, you need blink and you miss it moments that actually mean something. That happened a lot back in the day, back in the Attitude Era. That happened a lot, where something would happen over the course of like 90 seconds that could be a paradigm shift for a character or a team or something like that. And if you missed it, you're just catching it on replays later, or you're catching it next week and you don't even realize you missed it. So
you have to hope USA is airing the show right after the show again.
Yeah,
or,
right.
Like they used
Which
to
doesn't
do.
happen anymore.
Right. But here, well, I mean, you can catch it on like Moon Dos or Telemundo Dos or something like that in Spanish on Saturdays or something like that, if they even have that. But I think it's on Spanish, like later in the week, like a formatted 1 hour episode. But still, but there's all social media now. It's back in the day when there wasn't. But back in the day, also Attitude Era, you had 2 shows, and if you're going back and forth between the shows, you ran the risk of missing something on the other show.
Yeah, that's true.
And,
yep.
Right, and that's what they really they thrived on that. Both promotions. Something shocking, somebody coming out of the woodwork, someone coming from the crowd, stuff like that. You don't have that today's day and age. So to have a moment where you kind of walked out of the room, or you're kind of not paying attention, and then something happened because you tuned out because you thought like the segment was over, just based on how they've been doing things for the last several years, it's a good thing. And now maybe you'll pay more attention. You'll actually watch until the commercial comes now. And and you won't automatically assume every match is going to go 2 with more segments. So that's pretty good. Let's talk about the RKO out of nowhere first. And here's my setup for it. I have a question for you. I want to know your answer to it. Let me just give it a little bit of setup. Even though SummerSlam is an interbrand event, and this is our first interbrand match since the draft, do you think it's too soon for people to be sneaking in and invading other shows? Because I thought that the match was going to be what it was. Brock versus Orton, and no fanfare until then, except for maybe, Brock fulfilling one date of his contract, doing nothing but dancing in the ring while Paul Heyman spoke. And when that happened on Monday, I kind of thought that was all there was going to be to it. Brock was just going to stand there. Paul Heyman was going to run his mouth, and then that was going to be the setup for the match. And that's it. Orton already did his thing on the Battleground, and this was Brock doing his thing, and then the match was going to be what it was. I also didn't expect Brock Lesnar on SmackDown either. Are these wasted uses for Brock Lesnar, or did this add something to the match for you?
I would say it added a lot to the match, and I don't know that it's something they would have done if it wasn't for Brock's. I don't want to say it this way, but I'm going to issues outside of WWE. I think this is we need to do whatever we can to rebuild Brock's character within WWE and create a real personal animosity between these two guys. What better way than them to be already invading, which I know in and of itself, like in a vacuum, if you say it that way, they're already invading Raw and SmackDown from the other side. If you just say that, that's one thing. But this match was already set before the brand split. This match was happening. It's the only cross show or cross brand match at SummerSlam that we know of, and should be the only one. So
Red versus Blue Battle Royal though.
Oh, is there?
No, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it every time.
Sure. But yeah, it added to it, and I think it was necessary not just for Brock's character, but to create an actual build for this match. Because otherwise, I think it would have been outshined. It would have been overshadowed by some of the other matches on the card, and that's not something you don't want Brock coming into the building and being considered an afterthought. And as much leeway as people give him, and as much just hypocritical, yes, we're talking about doctors now, as much hypocritical slack as people give Lesnar, I still think he would have had less. It would have been less of an impact or it would have been. Man, I'm struggling to talk about this the right way because I don't want to harsh too much on him.
No,
but
I think the basic
anyway,
is that if he laid out, fans would just be kind of mulling over the he cheated. Cheated. But now that he's there, okay, Randy Orton got in his shot.
Yeah,
he's not even speaking. It's Paul Heyman speaking. So the fans' reaction to it is, "Oh God, Paul's great. I can't wait till we hear what he has to say. I love his stuff." Brock is in the ring, sure. Paul's talking about Brock, sure, but at the same time, it's Paul Heyman. He's great. He comes up with the greatest promos. I'm glued to the edge of my seat. And then Orton comes out of nowhere, and it's just roof goes off the place, and it's no longer Brock cheated. It's RKO out of nowhere. I can't believe that. He's on SmackDown. What happened? Something like that. So now focus is taken off of...
You said it a lot better than I did. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I pieced it together based on your points and your abuse of
my rambling.
Yep. Paul Richards' Almanac. But,
yeah.
Or I'm sorry, Webster's Dictionary or whatever. But the Farmer's Almanac that you tried to
Farmer's Almanac
sentence with. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like my own main thing is, okay, maybe it's too soon to do the whole he's invading Raw, he's invading SmackDown. Let's get the security guards, out of the way. Let's get the security guards to the ring to protect Brock Lesnar and protect Orton and stuff like that. Maybe it's too soon for that. Who cares? But for me, the more pressing issue is, well, we signed Brock Lesnar to so many appearances, and we just wasted 2 without a match. Like, why can't Brock Lesnar be beating up jobbers in the ring or the Shining Stars or whatever to get over his dominance towards any other athlete on the roster? It's always been my concern with Brock Lesnar and the part-timers is they're there, but when they're there, they're not really doing anything but setting up some sort of future match. And me, I like the little guy. I like the hard worker, the indie type guy. And while those guys are going in and day out on the road, 5-6 days a week, sometimes 2 shows a day, Brock gets the luxury of coming in once in a while and not even working a match and making the bucks. I'd rather see Brock Lesnar's paydays being used towards actual matches, and then maybe Orton come in at the end and RKO him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I just kind of like, well, Brock was on Raw, he took an RKO. Brock was on SmackDown, he gave an F5. And okay, there's 2 dates fulfilled.
Well, and they probably had to double Brock's pay because he actually spoke on SmackDown. So when he was backstage,
and he worked 2 days in a row. I don't know if that's in his contract. They might have had to renegotiate, but I don't know. I'm sold on your point. They did this, and all of a sudden
it made
speculation.
This needed that treatment, whether it was planned originally or not, which it probably was, to be honest. But
I would say it was.
Yeah, but
because they made a shirt that said hashtag out of nowhere.
Sure.
So
but
where were they going to plug that? But Jericho, that was it.
Yeah, you know? The point still stands that whether it was planned or not from the beginning, this match definitely needed it, and it's made it a lot more exciting at this point. So
right, and going on the hypocritical and contradicting train.
Sure.
Nobody was booing Lesnar. They're booing Roman Reigns even louder because of his problems. And that's where you were going with that.
Yeah.
But also something that's contradicting is something I'm going to say right now. And I'm glad the jobbers are back, but I really want to see Braun Strowman or Nia Jax versus somebody legitimate.
I gotcha.
You know what I mean? Just if they're all about putting people over on The Miz, because The Miz is a former champion and current Intercontinental champion, and they want to raise someone's stock that way, why are they then doing the reverse, where they have Braun Strowman and Nia Jax being the legitimate monsters in the ring, and then feeding them people that no one's ever heard of that weigh 96 pounds? That's the only question I have. Where is the not continuity? Where's the consistency in trying to build a monster?
I got you.
Right?
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, I don't disagree. Especially, I don't disagree. However, counterpoint, real quick, would be the rosters are kind of thin right now until some of these other guys show back up. Well, and they're both on Raw, right? So
they're both on Raw, and they are two different genders. So
they're both on Raw. They're two different genders. Yeah. There's 5 people that Nia Jax can beat up on, that are mainstays in her roster, and
it can't be Alicia Fox every single week.
Exactly. So yeah, there's only so much she can do in general, and then if you look at the men's side too, there's really I wouldn't say there's necessarily a complete lack of depth, but there kind of is, because a lot of people are in tag teams, or they're already in a feud that's set for SummerSlam. You know what I'm saying? Is
absolutely.
There's a lot of stuff that he can't really insert himself into. So
that's the thing about the rosters as they are now, is anybody losing is being quote unquote buried. So the loser has to look strong every single time now, because there's only so many people on the roster. So when the Primo and Epico beat Golden Truth has to lose in such a way where it's not like they lost because of talent, it's they lost because of some gimmick or some
because of Pokemon,
right? Because of Pokemon. But when you have a one-on-one match, anybody losing, well, they're just one of 18 wrestlers,
right?
15 wrestlers. I never even counted to see how many there were. It was 60 superstars drafted?
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
And then you take out the tag team, you split it down the middle, it's 30 and 30, you take out the women, you take out the tag teams, and you might get 18, 17, whatever singles competitors on the men's side. Anybody losing is being buried right now.
Well, and all right, so
I buried with quotes. I'm being
sarcastic. No, I know. Yeah, I know. You're IWC buried. So here, I'll do this super quick just for Raw, since that's relevant to this conversation. Seth. Okay, so your number 1 is Seth Rollins. Your number 2 guy is Finn Balor. They're in a feud. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. They're not in a feud together, but they're both in other storylines. The New Day, Sami Zayn, Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, Enzo and Cass, The Club, Big Show. There's one, but you don't want to have the Giant versus Giant match yet.
I'll tell you what I thought I was going to.
Yeah. Okay, so all right, so Big Show, Neville, Cesaro, Sheamus, Golden Truth, Titus O'Neil, Darren Young, Sin Cara, Jack Swagger, the Dudley Boys, Mark Henry, then Braun Strowman, then Bo Dallas, the Shining Stars, and Curtis Axel.
Okay.
So seriously, less than half of that, meant like maybe a quarter of that list outside of Strowman are people he could actually have a match with, because the rest of them are involved in something else.
Here is what I originally said about Braun Strowman, and this is why I'm being contradictory about, like, tongue in cheek about jobbers being back. I said that Braun Strowman was going to Raw. Be prepared to watch, 3.5 months of him fighting Mark Henry and Big Show over and over and over again, because they want to make this guy look like a monster. So he's going to take out the bigger competitors. So they did the reverse of that. They brought in the smallest guys possible who aren't on the roster to make Braun Strowman look like a monster against these guys, instead of like being forced to look like a monster against battling guys bigger than him or his equal size as him. Now, guys he could fight from that list you gave me is Sin Cara. Like, I see no reason he can get squashed. He's gotten squashed before. Zach Swagger is another one. He's a guy who,
you're just gonna. It's a gimmick for you now. It's a gimmick for you now.
He's a guy who certainly has had his share of losses. I mean, Rusev feuds and stuff like that, as being the All-American, losing the battle against then Russia. Yeah, I mean, Bo Dallas and Axel are guys as well. But, it's 2 weeks in, and I'm being very tongue-in-cheek, and I'm just kind of stating the fact that, okay, now I want to see them work legit matches,
1, 2... I mean, outside of Mark Henry and Big Show, that's 4 people. Sin Cara, Jack Swagger.
Was that a fat joke?
Bo Dallas. No, Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. He has 4 people he could wrestle. Yeah. Outside of the other 2 quote unquote giants that he could wrestle, or monsters.
You want to set up a mixed gender tag team match? Nia Jax and Braun Strowman versus Enzo and Sasha Banks. How you doing? Yeah. A name you mentioned on the list, and I mentioned. What's your quick thoughts about Roman Reigns and Rusev?
I like it. I don't know if I like the red gear or the red. Like, I kind of like the red, but I kind of didn't. Like, it almost looked like it kind of gave me the donut from Red versus Blue vibe of it's. Everyone keeps saying it's pink, and no, it's lightish red. Like, that's kind of how
the dress is clearly blue.
Oh no, we're not doing that.
Okay, I never even saw that picture, but go ahead.
Yeah,
I know that the Halberg in Final Fantasy XI is purple or blue. That was a big debate. But go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, I like that they're going with a new color and stuff like that. I just wish they would do new gear instead of just changing the color. But I think that would go a long way to helping him out. But that's just his look. However, I think it's cool, and most of what I saw people talking about was, this is what you should have done a year ago. This is exactly what you should have done with Reigns a year ago.
I think so.
And now, and no time like the present at this point. You can't complain about it if you're like, well, this is what you should have done a year ago, because guess what? There's really no one else to put in that position right now anyway, besides like Jack Swagger, but we've kind of already seen that play out multiple times.
He likes to be called Zach.
Jack Swagger.
Well, I mean, like, it was making me excited that he was fighting Mark Henry, because I'm like, all right, well, maybe he'll fight Zach Swagger after this, and Jack Ryder will come with American tights and stuff like that. And then, like, all of a sudden, like, what American, will stand, all of a sudden Kurt Angle comes out. That was like the dream.
Well, and that's what a lot of people thought was going to happen that night.
Yeah, that would be the dream. Like, there's a lot of those things that you can kind of like clearly forecast. Like, oh, it's set up so good for this to happen. Like so many people, like Hogan's the third man in the NWO. Like, so many people called that, because like, what would have made more sense than that? But this is like one of those moments that everybody would call. Now, Roman versus Rusev, here's a chicken or an egg question. Punishment over, moving on to a new productive feud title run, or punishment still on, he's there to put Rusev over?
I don't know that it's necessarily either. I think, obviously he wouldn't be, I say obviously, but I really don't think he would be in this position had the things not had, okay, I'm going to say this once and only once. It's
going to
something
be on the internet. It's going to be on forever.
Yeah, I know, but I'm
Better beep it out.
only going to say it once. I've read it multiple times today. When Roman's piss turned heel, obviously,
That's awesome.
yeah, I've seen that several times today. I'm like, that's it's really funny. It's awful, but it's really funny. But
That's going to be my new Twitter
yeah,
handle at Piss Turns Heel. By the way, that's my one time I'm allowed to say it. You can't beat me.
yeah, but
Don't censor me, bro.
but yeah, that's I don't think he's in this position had that not happened, but I don't really think it's either direction. I think it makes sense for him to put over Rusev here. I still don't think it's time for Rusev to drop the title, and I don't know and I think Reigns could have a good run with the US title and you could build him up a little bit as you like people said as you probably should have done a year ago. I mean, honestly, well, we can talk about that later, but I'll just throw it out here. Honestly, what should have happened is Roman should have won the title off of Dean, and Roman should have broken up the Shield. But anyway, we'll move on from that. Just that's my thought. But yeah, I don't know that it's either way on the punishment, but I still think it makes more sense right now for Reigns to put over Rusev, but maybe just for SummerSlam. Maybe they keep it going a little bit and they get really aggressive with it because both of these guys can show a nasty side, and you could have an extended feud between the two of them since they're on the same show. And maybe you do put it on Reigns for a month or two. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad, and it could be done in such a good way. And what better way to Roman Reigns win the U.S. title? And then the irony of looking at the championship and realize that it was the U.S. that turned his back on him collectively.
Yeah.
And then just to just do the full heel turn we're all like really wishing happens by now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if it ever does. But yeah.
All right.
Well, and there's the real life implications of Rusev and Lana. They could actually give them let them take a honeymoon.
Yeah,
they just got married, so maybe it does happen at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
But
maybe, but you can always have a honeymoon for.
And then Rusev
between TV shows. I mean, that's not really that bad of a honeymoon.
And then Rusev,
you're not working the house shows. That's all. You're off for the house shows, and then you're.
Well, and then Rusev disappearing for a little bit wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing for having that feud where maybe he's gone for a couple of weeks and then he comes back. Maybe Reigns does heel out, and maybe Rusev comes back and says, "Hey, let's get this show started again," and we see some interesting new dynamics there. Who knows? I don't know.
The Bulgarian Russian sympathizing U.S. champion, full face turn just because he's fighting Roman Reigns.
No, he comes back, and his honeymoon gave him time to see the beauty of America.
He's on the honeymoon shaking hands and kissing babies, and he comes back a better man. That's awesome.
Sure.
All right. Rounding out Raw, Jinder Mahal came back. The Golden Truth did some shenanigans. The Shining Stars got their first ever Raw victory. We'll ignore all the other 150 times they were on Raw and won. You had a mixed tag team match. You had the primetime players fighting each other. Cesaro beats Sheamus, and Seth Rollins beat Sami Zayn, and what's his name? Finn Balor put the beat down on Seth Rollins. Anything else on Raw that you really wanted to talk about?
No, Raw was by all intents and purposes, or for all intents and purposes, Raw lost the battle of the shows this week. It wasn't a bad show.
Wasn't a bad show, but they lost. Okay.
So let's they definitely lost to SmackDown, I would say, in most people's eyes.
All right, so let's move on to SmackDown. Dolph Ziggler's rise. This is where I have a question for you, because I don't necessarily I understand what happened. I understand why it happened. It's just kind of one of those things that I guess I just kind of just didn't like overall. Ziggler's and Ambrose's interaction face to face to start the show. I understand it's fanning the flames, it's adding gas to the fire, it's all that. Ambrose is pretty much belittling Ziggler just to kind of have Ziggler build himself up and kind of retcon his most recent past of him being pretty much relegated to putting people over in like mid-card status or below mid-card status. What did you get out of that promo? And okay, and why did it work for you? Because I know when we were talking before the show, you're like really hyped on this feud now because of that.
Yeah, I just think it wasn't just that promo; it was the whole night. I mean,
all right, well, just talk. You can talk about it all at once right now.
Okay, well, just super. I can actually talk about this pretty quick, believe it or not. So we'll see, right?
Too late already.
Ziggler.
Oh, my mic wasn't when you shoot. Okay.
Stop it.
Sorry.
But the whole episode told Ziggler's story, and they followed it, and that's something we haven't seen in WWE in so long, where you see they establish what the story for the night is, and you keep seeing it throughout the night, and it's not just seeing replays of it, it's seeing the story progress through the night. And you saw that, and I really like it's pretty old school storytelling, especially TV storytelling, where you're actually seeing the progression of a character on a show, and you're seeing someone who is reluctantly or inadvertently bringing out the best in that person by sort of, not necessarily saying anything that's not true, just sort of telling them how it really is, and how their perception or how most people perceive them. I mean, that's a, like, things Dean was saying is kind of how people view Ziggler. And it's I like the attitude on Dean of, hey, yeah, you steal the show and I just win. So yeah.
It was
but it definitely elevated it above Rollins Balor to me, because Rollins Balor it's not I mean, it's been 2 weeks, but
it was textbok. It was standard.
It was extremely textbook, and comparatively, it fell way flatter than what happened than the emotion and the intricate storytelling of Ziggler and Ambrose.
It was it was just awkward for me, because here you have two fan favorites, and the Ambrose, the fan favorite champion, who always speaks his mind though, and always says what it is, has never really dumped on anybody who's also been a fan favorite. He's always just kind of like a matter of fact aside. I respect him, and we got that part of him later when he was doing the color commentary during the match of Bray Wyatt and Ziggler. But during the promo, it was almost like he was taunting him, he was baiting him in kind of like a villainous way. I guess that was just to bring the fighting spirit out of Ziggler, to kind of like elevate Ziggler back up into people's minds, and the constant reminder of, yeah, remember Ziggler used to be this guy who was on the cusp of being great and has been a champion 2 times over. So we're bringing him back up to that level now, and we're going to do that by smashing him down to build him back up all in one night.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the summary of it, and it worked. And again, I ran out of the room when Bray Wyatt came in and attacked him. So it set up the whole, like, I'll risk my title just to prove everybody wrong, and that, I can win, I can whatever. I guess that worked in that way. And since I understand it, I guess there's no confusion on my end. I just wanted to know, I just like, it's just like, sometimes you just don't like something. And I like,
and
Ambrose,
I get what you're saying, that, Ambrose was kind of running him down, but he wasn't, when it was all said and done, it was sort of an ego check, and, you shouldn't mess with people's egos.
Oh, and we got, and we got that at the end of the night when Ambrose went to the commentary.
Right.
And then, when Eric Rowan came out, Ambrose stood tall to pull him off of Ziggler, essentially, and get beat up in the process. So
sure,
so that and Raw, like, or where's the Miz? Miz is on SmackDown. They set up 2 tag team matches for next week, by the way.
Yeah,
Miz and Baron
basically.
Corbin versus Apollo Crews and Kalisto, and then Ziggler and Ambrose versus the Wyatt family.
And hopefully that means I maybe I'm segueing into something. Maybe I'm taking us off track, but hopefully that means we'll see some actual women's singles matches next week.
Speaking of actual singles matches, all right, Eva Marie thoughts, and I'm going to probably have this sort of segment every week of like Eva Marie thoughts because I'm on board with her being on the main roster, despite her talent, despite her, what do you call it, like soulless look? How do you describe her again? I was trying to remember that.
Dead
before.
inside.
Dead inside. Despite her being dead inside, and her lack of wrestling skill, her ability to hurt people in the ring, we don't know exactly if she's improved or not since her last match because she hasn't had a match in so long. So she may be doing wondrous things in the performance center, or she may be just shuffling along to red carpets and stuff like that, like we all want to believe. And that's the reason why we want to get rid of her. That's the reason why it works at the same time.
Yes.
When she was on the ring apron, the ropes and pandering, and she got down, her initial reaction, I turned to my dad, who I watch wrestling with. We all know this by now. I said, she just hurt herself. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, she just got off the rope and hurt her knee or hurt her hamstring or something.
She's either, it was either a shoot or.
Well, we'll get into that.
Okay, yeah, got
that. So as soon as she did that, I turned, and I have the tendency to kind of spot these things. I mean, we all probably can. I feel like I'm like clairvoyant in this way that I can pick out the shoots from the works. And then she went to the corner, and she kind of like had that dead inside mentality about her, where she was selling the injury but not selling the injury.
Right.
And she was looking like she was in pain but not looking like she was in pain. The referee was checking on her, but she wasn't interacting with the referee. So now my thoughts are like, from she hurt herself to, oh, is this a shoot or a work? And I'm like, well, all right, she's obviously not going to call attention to the fact if it's a shoot, because she probably like just doesn't know what to do. She has that deer in the headlights look. And then when it was all said and done and they didn't have the match, and the way, it wasn't her that sold me on it being a work. It was everyone else that sold me being on it a work, because she just looked generically blank. Like she didn't sell it.
We're so accustomed to seeing from her.
She didn't sell it one way or another. This is a person who can't kick out of a 2 count. So how could I legitimately make her somebody who can get in the ring and work in it, work a shoot in the ring, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know one way or another still if she was hurt or not, but I'm 95% going towards it was a work, because she wasn't on the report I said about the injury report. Right. They did a segment, and I couldn't bring myself to watching it, where they had the trainer backstage with her. I think I saw it without sound. I think they quickly closed the door on the reporter that was like tending to her. But did you read anything into this as to what it was, and what was the consensus?
So initially, all right. So super quick. Initially, I'm like, okay, this is a work. But then I saw a replay of it, and I'm like, well, I mean, she winced as soon as she landed and sort of started hobbling, like
she did that perfect for it to be a shoot, for it to be legit.
Right. So that then I'm like, oh, well, maybe she actually did something. But then, like you said, she goes to the corner, and then she gets helped out, and it's just like, I don't really see. I see the Eva Marie that we all know and hate. And
I see red hair, I see a red outfit, and I see her just standing there. And
I just see her face, like just the blankness, like just still not quite getting it. But maybe she's legitimately hurt, so I could still debate with myself on that. But then the YouTube video, or WWE.com exclusive, whatever they call it, that's also on YouTube, that's also posted on Twitter, that's also not exclusive anywhere.
That's never shown on TV where the wrestling actually happens.
True enough. But then I saw that, and I'm like, no matter what, it's a work now. Even if like
just like her not kicking out became a work.
Correct. Correct.
with the whole
Yeah.
favoritism stuff like that. But
Yeah. So it's it could have been something really small that she could have worked through, and I don't know. I don't know.
there's like no clear indication one way or another if that match was legitimately thrown out,
Yeah.
or if it was 100% work. Like I didn't see what
But
Meltzer. Meltzer's normally the guy that just like will one word reply people when they email him questions like that.
Yeah.
Just work, shoot, whatever. I wanted to pull his Twitter open just to see if someone asked that question and responded to it. But either or, well, let's say it was a work. This is like her perfect ideal situation of somebody who can't work, who generates that much heat to put her in these situations where she's still not working and gaining even more heat. Like, it's genius.
Well, I mean, in 2 weeks of SmackDown Live, Eva Marie is undefeated. Becky can't say that.
Becky lost again. Oh, God. Who did she lose to? Hold on.
Natty beat her last week.
I thought Natty punched somebody in the face and they never had the match. Carmella.
No, that was this week.
Oh, last week. Okay, I'm sorry. When you say last week, I'm thinking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I get you.
2 days ago.
Yeah. The first,
my bad.
SmackDown Live show, Becky won for some, or Becky lost. For
right,
some
and Becky was obviously
reason.
in the match with Eva Marie.
Right.
That never happened. So.
Right.
All right. Well, I mean, she's your biggest.
Well, there was a great match on Twitter, though. By the way, did you see? I'm sure you didn't, but there was some good Twitter drama with Becky.
My Motorola doesn't get Twitter.
Yeah. No, but Becky said, "Is there anyone around who will actually have a match tonight?" or she said, can we actually have a match? Something to the effect of, "I'm still ready. Can I have a match with someone tonight?" And Bayley speaks up and says, "I'm only 13 minutes away. I'm on my way." And,
nice.
And
that blew up, and they were all expecting.
And Becky says, "I'm still in my gear. I'm ready when you get here," or something like that. And then the other girls, and then Eva chimes in with, "Well, it's nothing personal. I'm just looking out for my health," or something like that. Or I just have to make sure or something. It's about my health and well-being, or something like that. And then Natty,
I'm a wrestler who never wrestles, so I never want to put myself in a wrestling ring to risk the chance that I might wrestle one day.
It was a good little convo, but like Becky, she kind of has that Sasha.
Came in
well, Becky
chimed in and ruined it.
Well, Becky, yeah, exactly. But Becky kind of has that sort of Sasha thing where she'll say things sometimes, and you're like, is she like legitimately pissed, or is she just kind of playing off the fact that she's probably got people blowing her up on Twitter saying, "I can't believe you didn't actually have a match tonight. What's going on with women's wrestling?" Which I was one of those people. But yeah, I was pretty
1 week removed from like the best match in women's wrestling history.
But WWE. It wasn't on SmackDown. That's my point.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's my point. Is at SmackDown we've had no legitimate women's wrestling yet in 2 weeks. I know it's 2 weeks, but still, when you're talking about having a title for the women and they don't actually have matches,
the only thing that can come from
title?
Well, the only thing that can come from this is that everyone's in everyone else's business. That Shane and Daniel Bryan just finally decide, hey, we understand that you're all competitive. And you're all risking putting everyone else out to put yourself over. So how about we do this for you guys? And then they introduce a title, and things get.
Yeah, I mean, you can work it into something, but it's still.
Can we have a women's match on a program? Then
can we have a legitimate match?
Yeah, even if it is Becky Lynch squashing, like Santana Garrett or somebody, not from the outside. They bring in other people for Nia Jax. Why can't they feed Becky Lynch or Natalya people to have like a 2-minute match?
Well, this is what I said. So whatever happened with Eva Marie, work, shoot, whatever happened with that match happened with that match. Okay. And then you had Natty, basically no contesting the match with Carmella. Okay. Yeah. Right. Guess what? I messed
Alexa.
up. Alexa is still around. Why couldn't you have the Tiny Hoss have a squash match?
Now, here's the thing, though. a 2-hour show. They had it pretty stacked in the
Yeah,
format.
I get that. I get that.
They had 2 segments for the women, but before the Natalya Carmella match, going to commercial, SmackDown is like, and Bray Wyatt versus Dolph Ziggler for the #1 contendership is up next. And I'm just like, I thought Natalya and Carmella were wrestling. And I'm trying to think that maybe I went into the other room or it was on a different channel and it lasted like 20 seconds and I missed it. And then they come back from commercial and then they had Carmella come out and Natalya attacked her and then they were done. So even like the TV show wasn't like Carmella versus Natalya is next. They were just like dismissing that fact as well, but whatever. So American Alpha looked pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how do you have the Vaudevillains and the Ascension playing the same role on the same show? Is Simon Gotch incident aside, are the Vaudevillains relegated to like what they are now? Are they in that Job Squad kind of mode?
I wouldn't say necessarily. I mean, especially once there's an actual title, then there's a reason. I mean, there's only what is there? There's one. Okay, American Alpha is 1. The Vaudevillains is 2. The Usos is 3. The Ascension is 4. If you put Zach and Mojo together, that's 5.
Breezango.
6.
Wyatt family.
Yeah, but I mean that's Rowan and Wyatt. So that's only if Harper comes back that you have a legitimate tag team. So yeah, I mean you've got 6 teams right now, not counting the Wyatts, and counting the Hype Bros. So you've got enough for people to trade the title around a little bit. So I don't know.
I mean, even pre-draft, like Vaudevillains only won their debut match, and then only won because Enzo got knocked the hell out. Basically every other like I want to see their win-loss record. Like I pulled up Tyler Breeze's that one day. I want to see their win-loss record, and I want to see if they can rebound because Tyler Breeze didn't necessarily rebound, but at least he's in something that's a little bit meaningful now with his thing with they're getting segments, they're on TV, they're winning matches and stuff like that.
Yeah, so. I guess what I was getting at is they can only not win but so much with only 6 teams on the roster.
Eventually the Vaudevillains have to fight the Ascension and something's going to happen. And
someone has to lose.
And it might be on Main Event or whatever the SmackDown counterpart show is. I don't know. Is SmackDown Main Event or no? SmackDown is Superstars, right?
I think you're right.
I don't even know because I just meant
I really don't either. But
on the day they were taped, I don't even remember what they were last time. Not that they were one specific brand or the other, but they were taped on the same day is what I meant. But I think Main Event was taped on Raw because Main Event aired on
whichever
Tuesday.
It's whichever one Otunga is on. If he's on Superstars, then that's the SmackDown one.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying because
is it Tom Phillips and Superstar? Tom Phillips and Otunga, right?
Yeah, Tom Phillips is on both shows, which is weird. I don't know how they pull that off. And then you have Graves on one and Otunga on the other.
Well, there's a fake Tom Phillips, obviously.
Yeah,
just like there's 2 Kanes and there's 2 Undertakers.
Well, you know what it is.
There's 2 Alex Rileys. Yeah, Alex Reyes.
No, here it is. Jericho's been putting it out there this whole time. There's a Tom Phillips, there's a Todd Phillips, and there's a Tim Phillips.
Yeah.
So they're actually triplets, and we just don't know it.
Like Jericho is my favorite wrestlers, and one of the reasons why a WCW he called like when he did his heel thing, like he did a crybaby heel thing, heel turn. He called everybody by the wrong name. It was awesome.
Yeah.
He announced a cruiserweight luchador battle royal one time, and everybody who came through the ring he had a different name for it. It was like one of the best things ever. It was awesome. That was the one where, like, Dean Malenko was dressed as Ciclope, but Damien.
No, La Parka.
No, Diamond Dallas Page was La Parka. La Parka was La Parka in that match.
That's right. That was the swerve. Was that he wasn't actually La Parka. That's right.
He was Ciclope, and Damien 666 was in the ring. But I might have the 2 wrestlers wrong, but basically those 2 wrestlers were the same person, and they were both in the ring at the same time. So I knew, like being the mark that I was, and no one else around me knew this.
The smart.
I knew that guy was not who he was, and I'm like, that's Dean Malenko. And then that guy wins the battle royal, takes off the mask, and I think he pinned Jericho right there for the title.
Yep.
But one of the better points of WCW was the cruiserweight title.
Yep.
The cruiserweight division was so good, so good.
So very good.
I hope the WCW does the same thing with them, and they don't try to
WWE.
Like, I'm going to say this in a condescending way, but I kind of don't mean it how I'm saying it. I hope they don't NXTize the cruiserweight division. I hope it doesn't become NXT segment on Raw. I hope it becomes global, like more of the cruiserweight classic style than it does become like just two guys from NXT wrestling for the title.
Sure.
Or throwing like Neville and I guess Sin Cara, but I don't even know Sin Cara makes the weight limit for that because Hunico's kind of big. But
yeah,
whatever.
He's not the smallest guy in the world.
No, and I hope they do cross promotion with New Japan or AAA. Like I hope they do that. They don't need to do that because of WWE, and they probably won't do it because of WWE. But I hope they do it so they bring over other talent. Like how great would it be, like to have Kenny Omega on Raw wrestling for the cruiserweight title?
Oh, just yeah.
Even if it's a one-off.
Yeah.
Like WCW.
And he can even and you could print money on him just bumping into Xavier Woods backstage. Like they don't wrestle. They don't have a match until.
And what's this based on?
Maybe,
some internet thing?
What's that?
I said, what's this based on? Some internet thing I'm not familiar with? Like why Omega and
they were both at what's the is it Evo? Evo's the big fighting game thing. I think they were. Was it that one? They were at one of the big fighting game tournaments, and Kenny just destroyed Woods in Street Fighter.
Right, because Woods is not a gamer. He just has a gaming channel.
Well, he's not.
I know you're going to disagree with me with that, but
he's not good at fighting games. But he and then they had a DDR off, and Woods destroyed him in that.
See, I would legitimately,
Woods,
think that
Woods is a rhythm game guy.
I would think Woods is more of a rhythm game guy, and I think.
Well, you know that there's like a really deep back. I mean, it's not. It's like long time backstory, not necessarily long telling backstory. Woods used DDR for his cardio when he wrestled in high school.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah.
All right, so they're setting this division up for American Alpha to be like the top stars of it.
Oh, we're back on
but
SmackDown.
I wouldn't be.
Whoa, I thought we had actually moved to the CWC. Anyway, sorry.
So I think. No, I was just saying. For some reason, we got sidetracked to cruiserweights and stuff like that. But I was just saying that I really hope Raw creates, relations with other promotions. Like I would love to have them have a relationship with Ring of Honor to bring in Ring of Honor talent in exchange for maybe paying for some, supporting them financially a little bit. But that will never happen because it doesn't benefit Ring of Honor at all. Like, only thing that will happen is talent will then graduate to WWE and Ring of Honor will be left filling those needs. So there's no need for that. But to have a cruiserweight division that has as good of talent now as a WCW cruiserweight talent had back then is what I want, and not just a rehash of guys who are in NXT or WWE that fit the weight limit. That's basically my spiel on that. But American Alpha is designed to be the tag team champions on SmackDown, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're not the first one because there's probably money in them chasing.
In the chase, yep.
In the chase, so.
And the Vaudevillains would actually be a good pick for that. Actually, you know who would be a really surprising but good pick for that?
Bray Wyatt and Eric Rowan.
Yeah, but I was going to say the Hype Bros.
I would put them in consideration, but they weren't on SmackDown together. They were on like Superstars or whatever. So, I mean, listen, we've had 4 hours of SmackDown TV, so really, really far away from.
They could be an interesting, like, just sort of suddenly out of nowhere, the Hype Bros actually win it, and everybody, and you could have a reason for Zack Ryder having a beard, and I think he could go full heel.
I think you're okay. Well, let's not turn everybody. I think back in the day when they had the brand split and they had the two separate tag team titles, I think the SmackDown title was always experimental. The tag title was always experimental. It was always newer guys, newer pairings, stuff like that. And then the Raw side had the established tag teams. It looks like that's kind of going to be the way here with how the rosters are. But I'm not necessarily against that. I just want to see the different divisions have a recognition.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and call this because I think it makes a lot of sense. But I suspect you have a tag tournament and it ends up being Usos versus American Alpha so that the Usos can put them over as, multi-time tag champs. And that really gives American Alpha a strong showing.
I mean, we're obviously forgetting the fact that Breezango beat Usos last week.
That's true.
So I wouldn't put it past them for having. And speaking of injury issues, I wouldn't put it past anybody to kind of like have the Usos in that supporting, putting people over role until the tag teams come out. If Jimmy's even healthy, to have like Breezango versus American Alpha.
Oh yeah, Jimmy was on the list, wasn't he?
Yeah, and Breezango winning.
Yeah,
and then
sure.
American Alpha coming, or not even American Alpha, just getting screwed out of the finals.
Sure.
It's Breezango.
Yeah, we'll see.
Whatever,
we don't even know if they're going to have a tournament at this point.
Right. It could be a one-off match or it could be awarded. You never know. It could be on a poll. Tag team, first ever tag team
on a poll
ladder match. No, they've had that before. How can I make this unique? Well, whatever. All right, and Cena versus AJ Styles. I mean, it does everything right, Duke. Everything right. How good was that promo?
It was great.
And it's real. It's legit. And it's like not hurting anybody's feelings at the same time.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
I think I like John Cena a lot more than I really let on.
I think a lot of people are realizing how much they like John Cena between him being gone for so long and then him doing so much for the company outside of the company and showing up for as many shows as he does, even when he's doing these other engagements and stuff. I think people are really realizing that the dude he gives more to the company than probably anybody ever has.
People hate Roman Reigns. People hate John Cena because it's part of the show. Your Cena sucks, let's go Cena chants. I'm not saying they're fabricated. I'm not saying they're not real.
But a lot of it's because they're
chant
popular.
Him because it's something that gets chanted all the time.
Sure.
So, like, you even hear it in the pre-show, like when they're live.
Yeah, it's like the what chants.
Yeah.
Most people don't even know what the relevance of that is. They just do it because they've heard it on TV.
Right. And I don't think it's real hate for John Cena. I think it's just like you're there and you're rooting against John Cena because you root against John Cena. It's what you do. It's a Geico commercial, stuff like that. But all right. Anything else on SmackDown? I mean, we had the women's crap. We had Rhino Gore and Heath Slater, and Heath Slater is pretty much the star of WWE right now.
He's really a good thing for WWE.
Now, how
he really is.
How does this surprise you? Like a 2 week since the brand extension, since the new era officially began, you have a top 3. Number 3 is American Alpha. Number 2 is Heath Slater. Number 1's Eva Marie. This is like your stars of the 2 weeks combined. I mean, obviously, like a little bit tongue in cheek, but at the same time, like those 3,
but they're really still memorable. They're still worth talking about. Yeah.
And if you said this a year ago, first of all, it's American Alpha who?
Right.
Eva Marie will never be on TV. And then Heath Slater, come on.
Right.
But stuff like that. All right, let's move over to NXT really quick. Samoa Joe almost fulfilled a dream of mine, Duke. I always wanted the return of Sandman in ECW. Some guy who gets so pissed off that he's just going to interrupt every match on TV.
Yeah.
And
that's what you wanted Reigns to be.
That's exactly what I wanted Reigns to be. I think I want this to happen to every guy who's got a chip on his shoulder. Just come out and interrupt every match until you get what you want. And Samoa Joe did that. He beat up Mojo Rawley. Mojo made a comeback.
Mojo showed some fire. It was good.
It was actually pretty cool. And then Joe just choked him out again. MVP of NXT, Bobby Roode.
Glorious.
How You like sitting on that for an hour, weren't you?
I've been waiting for us to get to NXT.
Okay. How great of a promo, and this is where I really mark out for people. For somebody to grab the mic and then go from like praising everybody to trashing them in a single promo. Like everyone's hot for your arrival, and you know they're going to be hot because they're all marks for the product. Like anybody new coming in who has recognition outside the company, coming in for the first time, gets praised through the roof. So you know this going in. So how do you counter this by making Bobby Roode the heel, knowing the crowd's going to support him at the same time? Well, he comes in and then he does like a 1%er thing. He praises everybody, then says basically, I'm in the 1%. We're going to replace all you dummies with business people and CEOs. And then the crowd started booing him. Wasn't that great promo?
I was listening, but when he came in and he kind of had that corporate Triple H look and everything like that, I'm like, oh, this guy's golden.
He looked at like Triple H at times.
Yeah, I was just like, this guy. Like when he walked in, I'm like, all right, I get it already. I know why people like the dude really does ooze charisma, and that's not something like I hear people say that all the time, but he's like the epitome of it when I saw him. And then he started talking, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this guy's great. And then he starts putting over NXT, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. But I thought some of the house show stuff I've seen has been him as a heel. And so I'm like kind of halfway paying attention, and then he starts making the turn, and I'm like, oh, wow. This guy's I think I turned to my wife sits in the room while I watch NXT. She doesn't watch NXT. She sits in the room while I watch it. But I turned to her and I said, this guy, they're going to print money when this guy. I'm like, this is just, he's too good. He set
that whole thing up.
Too good.
He built everybody up, and it's been done before. Everything's been done before.
Well, I mean, Rollins did it when he came back, but I was just like, man, not this good. It wasn't that good.
Rollins was the bad guy when he left too, so it was kind of that.
True enough.
Like, Rude was like no one knows what he was going to be going in. But oh my god, it was so good.
It was glorious. It truly
and then we saw a different side of Asuka. But here's my thing. I mean, my thing has been like there's been no competition for her and nobody who can like keep pace with her in the ring in NXT lately, except for maybe Bayley. And you don't want to just keep having those matches, so you have to protect that match. So Asuka's been off TV. So she's had no spotlight. And I think that with a spotlight, something like this could have been dragged on to like the subtle Asuka's becoming more aggressive, more villainous kind of story. Except we got like a one-off 10-minute segment where that was all like crammed into that segment.
I still liked it though.
I mean, I still liked it too, but I think like it could have been like, you want to talk about printing money. This might not have printed money, but it would have been money if Asuka would have had a slow sort of, she's aggressive, she's getting even more aggressive, now she's getting nasty, like not releasing the holds after the match and attacking people before the bell, stuff like that. It could have played into it nice, but it's the nature of NXT, of their roster and how they format their TV shows and when they tape them, to like only have like one or two tapings before the next main event, the next takeover special. There's not a lot of time to set up stuff like that.
There's not, but we've said it 2 takeovers in a row now where it's just like, man, there's just no build to this, and then we come out of it and we're like, they did it again.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it's not a great match. I'm just saying that there's like a lot of story here that they couldn't have just because there was no one to match Asuka up with. And I think she could have squashed people to set the story up, but she wrestled yesterday, as we tape this. The last time she wrestled, was it the taping before Dallas Takeover or the taping after Dallas Takeover before WrestleMania? I feel like we haven't seen her in months.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been she had a match with who did she have a match with? Because I was impressed with the person she was in the ring with. I think she had I don't know. I thought she got in the ring with one of the Australians since she won, but I could be wrong. So,
She might have. I mean, she might
yeah,
have.
but I think I thought it was cool, and we'll see where we go from here next week, and then we'll also see in 2 weeks what Ember Moon brings to the table. That could be interesting. So
I don't know what an Ember move is.
Ember Moon
is
is Athena Reese's NXT name.
Oh, she changed it again? Okay.
Yeah. So
All right.
Ember Moon debuts in 2 weeks.
Asuka kicked Eva Marie in the boob, remember? So that was a match.
That wasn't after TakeOver. That was before.
That was June 24th, 2016.
Okay.
So that was after. NXT TV taping number 202. Asuka defeats Eva Marie by submission.
Was it just Asuka and Eva Marie?
Yeah, one-on-one.
So it wasn't the tag match then. Okay.
No, but it could have
Bayley.
been something. Could have been something that never made TV.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. It could have happened at TV taping, but never made TV.
Gotcha.
But I do remember. Was that a tag match where Asuka kicked her? Yeah. That was tag.
Was she and Bayley versus Eva and Nia. I mean, the women's division is in need of a really, really solid heel, and who better than your champ? So.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to.
So,
they have none, so you have to have somebody.
Yeah, there's the Australians who are kind of tweeners, and then
not even like they're kind of tweeners.
Then you've got Bayley, you've got Liv, you've got I guess Noof / Aaliyah is a babyface. I don't know.
She's got like heat.
Yeah, I know. That's what's funny.
Comes out, people are pissed. I'm like, oh boy. The music started playing. People started booing. I'm like, I don't even recognize this music.
Breaking Ground did not do her any favors.
No, not at all. Yeah. Not at all.
But
I mean, it's kind of like, yeah.
But she looks better every time she's in the ring, and she sold some of those shots. I mean, it's Asuka, so who knows how hard they're getting laid in, but she sold some of those like she was getting hit by a truck. So that was she looked good. I thought she did pretty good in that match. So yeah.
She's all right, but she was in a position to like just get like squashed a little bit. So
sure.
Like anybody can fit that role.
Yeah,
where's
see.
a match where she has to actually call a match and work with somebody and put on a decent performance? That's kind of like
we'll see.
That's always been my issue with her. It's always been my issue with like Carmella. Like it's like
right.
I'm shaky on a lot of people, and I feel like they're like that's why Bayley wasn't drafted, because Bayley has to be there for a while.
Oh, can we super quick while we're talking about women, and let's revisit the SmackDown idea or SmackDown women's division. Super quick. You have heard the one rumor, right?
Melina, Lisa Marie. I mean,
Victoria. Yeah. That
Melina
could be interesting. Too. Yeah. I think Melina more for Raw and Victoria more for SmackDown.
Now,
but they could both be SmackDown. I don't know.
Victoria was like making people aware to tune into SmackDown this week.
Yeah.
And then like she wasn't there.
Right.
There was a big sign that said Victoria for the Hall of Fame, but that was about it. And I wondered if I missed that as well. But,
no, you didn't miss it. Who knows? Maybe there was supposed to be something, and they're like, we don't have time. Who knows? But
yeah, and another reason why I think the Eva Marie thing was a work too is because they didn't really struggle as a TV show to fill the time.
Yeah,
like everything else felt natural. Nothing felt like it was prolonged, and nothing felt like it was added in. So,
but NXT was great, and then we had
now the ending of that TM61 and the revival.
Right.
How did that end? My network was messing up. like I couldn't get to the end of the match.
It just kept cutting revival off.
I figured that Gargano and Ciampa get involved.
No, they were just involved in the. Well, now you're making me second guess myself.
They had the interview beforehand.
Yeah, I think that's the only involvement.
Okay,
I think that's the only involvement they had.
Because I did one of those.
I'm second guessing myself.
I did one of those watch from the beginning on NXT because I got to it like 10 minutes later. So I did watch from the beginning, and it made me watch like 10 minutes of Monday Night Wars first.
Yeah.
Before NXT began.
Yeah, it does
which
that
meant
sometimes.
it cut off 10 minutes after.
Yeah.
Like 10 minutes before NXT ended, it cut off, and I couldn't get it to show me that last part. So
I think there were
all right,
I think there were network issues at that time too, because about that same time I was having weird things going on where it would freeze up for a second.
Yeah, it kept throwing me to the main menu.
Yeah.
And then I realized, well, that's because the half hour it had allotted for NXT, like the beginning of it was a different show, and the end of it, obviously, it stopped at whatever time mark it was. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll start the CWC, and I'll catch the last 10 minutes of NXT on the beginning of CWC, and it didn't work out that way. CWC started on time. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm missing out on the end of this.
I really hope at TakeOver there's a whole section of people with little
flags, American flags.
No,
mini tacos,
little bells.
Oh, I wanted mini
little desk bells for Gargano. I really hope people are sitting in the ring or sitting in the audience just going ring 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 ring.
Was really that from his promo?
Yeah,
because
good.
Because TM61 took the bell, right?
And and he liked the bell. He liked the bell.
I thought he said belt.
Yeah, no.
Because I do a lot of things.
Don't take the bell. I like the bell.
I thought he said belt. I thought he was carrying a proverbial belt around like he was the champion.
No.
Like he was going to take the tag team.
No, when they first came in, they were dinging a bell because they were next in line because they had their ticket that said number 1.
I feel like a bad wrestling fan at times because I miss some things because I'm in and out of doing things for my family.
I know. And I was in and out. That's why I don't necessarily fully remember the finish of the show, but that promo was fan. Like that promo, I knew that Johnny Wrestling was over for a reason, but now I get it. I mean, the dude is he's super intelligent and super quick-witted. I liked it, and Dawson and Dash were great too. So
the GnWC podcast, a wrestling show for people who like wrestling from people who sort of watch wrestling sometimes.
Yeah. Who are in and out. We might watch it.
Yeah, we watch it sometimes.
CWC was really good.
Let me tell you something.
And it was a good continuation of the Gargano and Ciampa story.
I kind of do like the way they did that match. We'll start with that match, I guess. I kind of do like the way they finished that match. But man, I hate those roll-up crucifixion, whatever, crucifix kind of finishes. I really just would have there's too much protecting going on in the business to say that okay, Ciampa lost, but in his loss, he was the dominant one. He just got caught off guard. I just can't people just win? Use their finishing move and just win anymore? That's just it just adds another notch onto that argument for me. But
yeah,
other than that,
but it was still a fantastic match.
He beat the piss out of him. There's no other way to say that. He really just laid into him. It was awesome.
And his piss didn't turn heel.
No, it didn't.
I said it again.
And it wasn't.
It's too funny.
I don't want you to beat me again, so I won't say what I want to say. Really do though, but I'll say it off air.
Okay.
But okay. By the way, according to this, Simon Gotch is 6-1 in the WWE.
Wow.
I don't know how. No, that's definitely not true. But I'm sorry. He's 6-27. The one is a draw. One is a no contest. I'm sorry, I didn't scroll over. He's 6-27. Simon Gotch.
Are you making jokes or are you for real?
No, I'm for real. It was 6-1, but second column was draw.
Are they counting the 2 times he got knocked out backstage?
No, they're not. No, his record on WWE.
So he's 6-29 is what you're telling me.
No, yeah, 6-29. His record in the WWE, house shows included, which skews the numbers more towards the negative side, I'm sure, with that tag team. 6-27. We were bringing that up before. So
that's pretty rough.
Rich Swann, please. More of them?
Yes, more.
Can we do this in NXT? I feel like we've seen him in NXT twice. I think
couple
twice
times
now.
Yeah, a
twice.
couple times. Yep.
But I don't.
But apparently he got injured. So yeah.
But he wasn't even under contract when he was there, though. They signed him after the fact. He was in that the signing with Nikki Storm. He was in
Oh,
that
okay,
group of
right,
signing.
right,
So
right.
he wrestled as like a Santana Garrett kind of talent, brought in for the tapings only. So he was kind of like toned down a little bit. But man, like I get a little bit scared because I like No Way Jose, but Rich Swann does No Way Jose better than No Way Jose.
Which makes me think that that's why we're seeing aggressive No Way Jose.
That they're going to phase him out of
seeing,
dancing No Way Jose, and then all of a sudden bring in Rich Swann, and he's going to be the crowd dancer.
or maybe they even put them together for a little while and
Dance Off would be hot in Full Sail.
yeah, but I mean they put them together for a while, and Jose is the more aggressive of the two, and slowly he becomes the guy who wants to take things more seriously, so on and so forth, so.
And he heals out on Rich Swann, and
Essentially,
they have a big
and holy crap, talk about a feud. I mean, that writes itself. Anybody healing out on Rich Swann, I mean, the most positive guy in the building. So yeah.
I mean,
he's great. He's really great.
I hate what they say about comedy wrestlers, like don't sell, they don't draw, they're never legitimate. I mean, like Rich Swann, he's not a comedy wrestler. He's got all the skills in the world, but he's got that comic-y gimmick with the dancing and everything, and people eat him up.
Yeah.
So it can be done. You can have somebody the fans love, and
and let him win,
and let him be on the top and stuff. By the way, Asuka in NXT is 91-3-3.
Holy cow!
Yeah, she has a 93% winning percentage. I don't know how she lost. Like, I want to see how she lost.
Tag teams, most likely tag team losses.
I'm sure tag team losses.
Yeah.
Or maybe initial losses before she was even Asuka. But I'm going to look that up. But I'm going to look that up as we talk. But go ahead. Yeah.
No, I mean, CWC this was a great way to end the first round with Rich Swann, Ciampa and Gargano, Noam Dar. I mean, you just had like where
I didn't care for Dar versus what's his name?
Oh, I know, but he's sort of star
brother.
Power, I guess.
Is he? Because is he? Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a big deal over across the pond. But you had the star power, and you had the like intense story element with Ciampa and Gargano that piggybacked off of NXT, and NXT could end up piggybacking off of it again. You could keep sowing those seeds later on, whether they become champs or not. Although I'm okay with, at this point, I'm kind of okay with Dash and Dawson just holding the belts for, I don't know, infinity. They're becoming, they really are top guys. Just got to be real about it. They're top guys.
They actually, I was never sold on Dawson, but I was never sold on Jason Jordan either. It really goes to show you that if a guy gets a good partner in a tag team and they're in a good role, a good gimmick, the gimmick makes or breaks them. And as much as you can dislike somebody, there's always a way and something they can do to just put them on top. Like, I was never an R-Truth fan. I hated Ron Killings. I hated him in WCW, WWE before that. I hated him in TNA.
You hated K-Quick?
I hated him. I hated K-Quick. I hated the Truth. I hated R-Truth. I hated every version of him until he did Little Jimmy. And then ever since he did Little Jimmy, everything he's done after that.
So you're on board with Crazy R-Truth.
Yeah, because serious rapping R-Truth was never over with me. He was just a guy who I just didn't want to see on TV. Like, I 3LK in TNA, I hated him. Road Dogg, Conan, and Truth. And then you added Billy Gunn to that mix. I mean, I was just like, this is terrible. I don't want to see this. And then Little Jimmy came out.
Some people, you just need that. You need that spark that they can really act on. Yeah. And then once it hits, and then they all of a sudden feel comfortable and feel freedom in that character, then you see why they're in the position they're in.
You want the textbook example? Ty Dillinger.
Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. Buddy
I'll throw
Murphy,
that-
holy
I'm
crap.
throwing that name out there just for you, just to get the pop from you.
I love him.
All right. Well,
I want him
look
on
for-
SmackDown next week. I'm not
go
even
to the
kidding.
archives
I'm legitimately not joking.
and listen to when Duke says, "I don't want to talk about these guys. These guys are terrible. They're the worst. They're the
I'll
worst
admit
part.
it. I'll
I
admit
voted
it.
them 2015.
I
worst thing
hated
about
them.
Everything.
Well, they weren't good.
That's my Duke voice, by the way.
Yeah, it's so
Spot on, right?
on. Yes.
You ready for Asuka's losses?
Go.
January 7th, 2016, Carmella defeated everybody in the Battle Royal.
Okay, so not
That counts as one.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
House show, February 27th, Bailey, champion, defended against Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Emma in a 4-way match.
Okay, so multi-person so far.
Right. She was in 2 no contests in back-to-back night against Bailey, Billie Kay, and Peyton Royce. That all somehow went into a draw. I don't know how that happened. And her last loss was Lana and Nia Jax defeated Asuka and Daria.
So so she has not lost a singles match, is what you're saying.
If we're not counting the Battle Royal as a singles match,
Correct.
She lost a tag team match and a 4-way match where she probably wasn't even pinned in it.
Right.
Actually, this says defeated pin. Like, I don't know if that means she got pinned or she was the one being pinned.
So
but
maybe
I would expect Daria being pinned at this show. Can I click on the show for more detailed results?
I don't know.
By the way, Ty Dillinger defeated Buddy Murphy on this same show. So that's definitely
Fantastic.
a show you want on your archives.
Yep. Speaking of, we didn't see them this week, and we haven't seen Ty since he had his loss.
They did promo with Ty.
Huh?
Did you miss it? They did a video package with Ty Dillinger.
No, that was about Oni, wasn't it?
Okay, it was about Oni.
Yeah, it was about Oni.
Right. He was involved in it though.
But for some reason, it was about Oni, and we didn't see any. Like, it was like a replay of the same package we saw last week. It was kind of strange. I don't know what that means.
Never does repackages. Like, I didn't see the same Nia Jax promo since she's wrestled.
Yeah, but this was weird because it was like, it was the same promo or the same video pack or same what am I trying to say? It was the same vignette they showed last week. And then last week they did an interview with him to follow up that vignette. Well, this week they showed the vignette and the replay of that interview. So it's kind of weird. And nothing to tack onto it. Like, I thought they were going to tack something else onto it, whether it be something from Ty or something from Lorcan. I hope Oni Lorcan is going back to his roots means he's not going to be Oni Lorcan, and he'll.
I think it's going to be his real name.
Yeah, I hope he goes back
to
Biff Busick. So. Anyway, I hope that's what we're building to. It's kind of strange to do that, to basically have the exact same content two weeks in a row for someone like that with NXT, like identical content, like no difference. At least with the Ember Moon promo, they showed just a little bit of it last week, and then they showed the whole thing this week, and then they said she was coming in 2 weeks. So, anyway, but really good wrestling
TV
week.
Taping.
What's that?
I guess she's going to be involved in the next TV tapings because I don't know if I don't know how many more weeks are left of this TV taping. But
well, it said she would debut in 2 weeks, so I assume that means she's 2 weeks is that Takeover? Is she gonna? I wonder if she's gonna get a debut match on Takeover.
Yeah, because the date was weird because the date didn't line up with the 3rd.
Yeah.
Because that would be the 10th, the 17th, the 24th.
Yeah,
the date was a little bit off. So
maybe she is going to debut on the show. That would be pretty cool.
It's absolutely going to happen.
Yep, and could introduce someone that works through the ranks to get to Asuka. So, or Bailey if Bailey wins.
I really, you kind of need Bailey in that division, so I kind of don't want to see her lose. And then just kind of like as a send-off, and then everyone expects her to be on the main roster. Although if she wins, people are going to be pissed because they know that she's going to stay. That division needs her, and as a fan, we need her there.
Yeah,
so if it's
you're not wrong, but there were people who thought she was going to show up even when she had the title. So because Sasha did, so why can't Bailey?
Sasha didn't show up when she had the title.
Oh yes, she did.
She did. You're right. She did. Owens did too.
Yep.
So,
there's plenty of precedent for it. So.
Yeah, and people, they're not working they're not rushing from one show to the other. They tape NXT once every 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And then they do house shows, but she doesn't have to be on the road with WWE, the main roster. She can just be on TV with the main roster and be on road with NXT. So,
Yep.
I mean, it could
which
be
is
both.
what Balor did the past 2 weeks. So
Yeah, and Mojo. A lot of people did it.
Yeah.
You saw that video. Mojo
Yeah, right.
and Nia Jax and whatever, Carmella.
Yeah, so they
They'll
were
do it.
all traveling with NXT despite being on the main roster. So
Yeah.
So
Well.
anyway, yeah, but it was a great week of wrestling, and I look
So
forward
if you
to
had to
seeing.
give it like let's say you had to give Raw versus SmackDown some sort of silly CompuBox boxing score like we were judging them, what would it be? 10-9 in favor of SmackDown?
I would do 10-9, yeah. Yep.
Because
Because SmackDown had its weak points, but
it had
it had some, but
shocking things.
Well, it had a lot of great character development and not a whole lot of wrestling. But the wrestling it had for the most part was pretty good. So,
See,
except
I'm
the women's
willing
division.
I'm kind of giving it a 9-9, only because like nothing really wowed me compared to like the first week of the brand split. Yeah, at American Out, like 9-9 is not necessarily bad. They were both good shows, but neither one of them. Like I had the RKO out of nowhere on one show, I had American Alpha,
True
Eva
enough.
Marie, and Dolph Ziggler on the other show. You know, on Raw, I had, you know, the mixed tag team stuff was good. And the promos leading up to it, like I had everything. Like a lot of stuff was good. A couple of things were great, but nothing really had that nothing had the over the edge that makes me want to pick one show over the other. So I'm going to go ahead and go 9-9. Just 9-9. Just based on that.
I'll give it 10-9. SmackDown's
Okay.
way this time. So
Well, SmackDown's basically on the lead, so we'll get. Do we have Jim Lampley on the phone now to take us home? No?
good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you. I'm the Duke, Larry.
And remember, you can reach me at whatever. I don't care. I don't care. I was going to think of something funny to say. I was going to throw my headset down, but I'm not going to do that because you want me to do that, dude. So I'm going to keep on talking until you